Welcome to TROM Talk. I'm Mary Tandri of DIY Salvation here with a special presentation for absolute beginners, men and women alike. If this is your first time watching, I'll bring you up to speed on how we've been applying basic TROM concepts to the subject of dating, sex and relationships. TROM stands for the resolution of the mind, and I'll tell you a bit about it right now. Life is a game, and a game consists of opposing postulates. What you want to do is convince the other of your postulate, or in simpler terms, persuade the other to your way of thinking. Examples are convincing another you are a better chess player than they are by winning the game, arguing with others on social media, and even more serious games like war, where one country convinces another that they are entitled to the other's land and wealth. Indeed, nearly all of life's activities are ultimately some kind of game or another. Attracting a member of the opposite sex is no exception. When I say postulate, I am talking about a goal, purpose, or intention. Though there are many possible postulates one can make, the four basic ones that govern this universe are: to know, to be known, to not know, to not be known. In previous videos we talked about how postulates can be overwhelming in persuading you. A member of the opposite sex can be overwhelmingly attractive to you because of their postulate that they must be known. And similarly, one can be overwhelmed by a member of the opposite sex who is postulating that they must not be known. The one postulating to not know you should be avoided, and the one postulating to know you should be embraced. Therefore, we have been focusing primarily on the ones postulating they must be known, and the ones postulating they must not be known, as the one postulating to know is hardly a problem at all, and the not knower or rejecting type is not very pleasant at all and hardly worth your trouble, even if you do succeed in attracting one. We covered how both the must be known type and the must not be known type are actually making two postulates. One is about themselves, and the other is about you. Someone who must be known is at the same time not knowing or ignoring you. People who want attention don't pay much attention to others. At the same time, someone who must not be known is interested in knowing others. Instead of fighting these people on their postulates, one agrees with them. A postulate that's complemented, or in other words fulfilled, will decrease or cease altogether. Once that happens, the one you desire has the freedom to change their postulate, and communication can take place. The TROM Talk playlists on this channel, one for men and one for women, cover all of this in more detail. For those of you who've already been watching, during all this talk about postulates, you may have stopped to ask yourself, now why does the person who is in a must-be-known postulate prevent others from being known? Why is it that the person who must not be known have to know others? The people I have been talking about whose postulates are not balanced and lean heavily toward the must be known or the must not be known postulate are examples of what we call compulsive games players. A compulsive games player insists on having things their way. They want to overwhelm you with their postulate while denying you be able to make that postulate yourself. You are not allowed to be known to the must be knowner. The one who doesn't want you knowing them still wants to know you. In TROM this is called the exclusion postulate. It is a postulate the compulsive player makes so as to keep you from succeeding in the same postulate they level at you. They are not playing fair, so to speak. But knowing the compulsive games player's exclusion postulate is the key to making complementary postulates with them and thus ending their game. Being mysterious to a must-be-knower to wear down their not-know postulate on you. Making yourself known to a must-not-be-knower so you can wear down their to-know postulate on you. You are acting the opposite way that they are, yet you are agreeing with their postulates which in turn will dissolve them and change them. It's quite a neat trick when you think about it. But then there are voluntary games players. They aren't trying to overwhelm you by enforcing their postulates on you. The one that wants to be known is willing to know you. The one who wants to know you is willing to be known. The voluntary games player seeks communication and agreement. They want to play with you, not against you. The voluntary player is in a higher state of awareness than the compulsive one, but sadly enough, there are much fewer voluntary games players. And there is an even higher state than that, where there is no game nor any compulsion to play one, and that is the no-game state. Let's put these states of awareness in order from highest to lowest. At the top we have the no-game state, below that we have the voluntary game state, then we have below that the compulsive game state, where most people are in and which we have been focusing on in previous videos in this series. There is one more state, and that is the lowest one can fall into, and the focus of today's presentation. It is the state of insanity. In this category lies that of the hard to get, the sexual tease, and the player. Now of course no one is going to get carted off to the loony bin for playing hard to get or sexually teasing someone. And the man who can persuade many women to sleep with him is not going there either, at least not for that. Still, I am sure that all three of these types have made millions for psychotherapists, but not because those shrinks are trying to sort out the tease, the player, and the hard to get, but from trying to sort out their victims. If you read 10 texts on psychology, you will likely get 10 definitions of insanity. There is a legal definition, and there are common English definitions as well. But I think we can agree that the insane person is extremely irrational. And we can define it even more clearly for ourselves by understanding more about the nature of postulates. While the compulsive games player is habitually opposing the postulates of those around him or her, the person who is insane is opposing their own postulates. They operate on a postulate and its opposite. Whereas the compulsive games player will oppose you trying to be known to them or trying to know them by either not knowing you or not being known to you, the person who is insane will try and know you and not know you, or try and be known to you and not be known to you at the same time. No matter what you do with such a person, they oppose you, as they already oppose themselves. The teasing woman will have a so-called wardrobe malfunction, though it appears an accident, it is most certainly not. She'll allow her dress to slip down far enough to reveal her nipple, then hurry it back up while locking her piercing, shaming eyes with yours. She wants to be known to you, then shames you for knowing her. She must be known and must not be known. The player persuades you to sleep with him, then forgets about you the next morning. He wants to know you and he wants to not know you. The hard to get is attracted to you yet says no when you ask her on a date. She's knowing you and not knowing you. She wants you to call her, but won't answer her phone or return your calls. She must be known yet must not be known too. It's nearly impossible for the rational human being to make any sense of any of it. Whether these behaviors are deliberate or not, such people stick in your mind and stay there. After all, people who make sense to you don't haunt your thoughts, now do they? Maybe there is some kind of genius out there who can figure out how to navigate their postulates and sort them all out, but I personally don't know of any way short of therapy that's going to do the trick. So, if their postulates are a confused mess, the best postulate you can make towards them is no postulate at all. If you take my advice, and such a person still haunts your thoughts, there is still a way to sort yourself out. TROM is self-studied, self-applied and 100% free. Even writing to us with a question will cost you nothing. DIY Salvation is run entirely by volunteers, with no objective of selling you study materials or signing you up for some kind of seminar or retreat you have to pay for. You can get started by downloading the ebook from the link in this video's description, and watching the videos and listening to the lectures on this channel. Over the coming weeks I will be continuing the TROM Talk series with demonstration videos showing exactly how TROM can ease the burden of past sexual upsets so you can not only continue your pursuit of a suitable amour armed with the data I've already given you, but also a fresh, new positive frame of mind as a result of doing TROM exercises. And what could beat that? Now before I go, I have a few final words about the hard to get type. Unlike the sexual tease or the player, the hard to get is not in every case insane. It can be a learned behavior indoctrinated into a woman when she is a teenager by parents who don't want to be grandparents too early in life, or advice from so-called self-help authors and women's magazines looking to make a fast buck teaching women how better to manipulate men. For the men, I'll tell you, if you spot such a type of woman and know she is playing hard to get, call her out on it. Have a civilized conversation with her, letting her know you find her attractive and interesting, but that you will not pursue her if she plays these games with you. If she does not straighten up after that, then forget about her. And for you ladies who play these kind of games with men, realize that men suffer from enough rejection from women that don't like them. They don't need it from women that do. You may think that sending a man mixed signals is the way to keep him interested, but a man with integrity won't put up with that for very long. Playing hard to get will only attract the weaker-willed, desperate type of man, and that is not the kind you want to have, if happiness matters to you at all. I'm Mary Tandri, and you are watching TROM Talk on the YouTube channel DIY Salvation. Thank you for your time.